Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're about to go on this incredible journey. And no, not to some distant planet, but deep inside the one place you live every single second of your life, your own body. We're going to dive into physiology, the secret story of how you actually work.
Really stop and think about that for a second. Right now, if you're breathing, your heart's beating, you're processing my voice, and you're not even thinking about it, how is all of that happening automatically? Well, that is the huge question we're going to start to unpack today.
So to even begin to understand this incredible automatic world that's running inside of us, we need to know what we're talking about. We need to define our terms. So let's just start with the biggest question of all. What is physiology anyway?
Okay, so the word itself is actually pretty cool. It comes from the Greek physis, which means nature or origin, and logia, meaning the study of. So when you put it together, human physiology is the study of the function of the human body and, this is the really key part, the mechanisms that make all those functions happen.
This is really where physiology stands apart from its sister science, anatomy. Think of it like this. Anatomy is the what, it's the parts list. It tells you this is a heart, it's all about structure. But physiology, that's the how and the why. It's not just knowing you have a heart, it's understanding how that heart actually manages to pump blood around your entire body. It's the story of function in action.
So you see, physiology is this super dynamic story. It's all about how the gears of your body are constantly turning and working together to keep everything in balance. It's a tale of communication, from those lightning-fast electrical zaps in your nervous system to the much slower chemical messages carried by your hormones.
Okay, so if physiology is the study of function, then what exactly is, well, doing all the functioning? For that, we've got to zoom way in and meet the true stars of the show, your cells. Just look at that number, 100 trillion. That is the mind-boggling number of individual cells that make you, you. And here's the craziest part. They're not just a big, messy pile. No way. They are a perfectly coordinated community, all working in harmony to keep you alive. The scale of it is just staggering.
Every single one of those 100 trillion cells is the basic living unit of your body. They are your fundamental building blocks. But, this brings up a really interesting question. If you're made of all these tiny living things, where do they all live? Well, it turns out that every single one of your cells lives completely submerged in a kind of internal ocean. And this idea of an internal environment is absolutely central to understanding, well, all of physiology. Now, to get your head around this internal sea, you first have to realize that you are mostly water. I mean it. About 60% of your body weight isn't bone or muscle or organs. It's just plain old water. So where is all that water hiding? Well, let's take an average 100-kilogram person. About 60 liters of them is water. Now, the majority of that, 2/3 or 40 liters, is actually inside the cells. We call that intracellular fluid. That leaves the other third, about 20 liters, outside the cells. And that right there is our internal sea. Scientists have a fancy name for this internal sea that all your cells are bathing in, the extracellular fluid, or ECF for short. The French have this great term for it, the milieu intérieur, the internal environment. This is the fluid that touches every single one of your cells. So what's floating around in there? Well, think of it like a city's super efficient delivery and waste removal service. It is packed with all the good stuff your cells need to survive, like oxygen and nutrients. And it's also the place where cells dump their waste products, like carbon dioxide, so it can be hauled away. Okay, now this is where things get really cool. The fluid outside the cell, our ECF, is dramatically different from the fluid inside the cell. And that difference is basically the secret to life itself. So, outside the cell, in that internal sea, the main players are sodium and chloride ions. It's basically a saltwater ocean. And believe it or not, it's very similar in composition to the ancient seas where life on Earth probably first got started. But then you step inside the cell, into that intracellular fluid, and bam! It's a completely different cast of characters. In here, the most common ions are potassium, magnesium, and phosphate. It's a totally different chemical world. Now, this is so important to get right. It's not that there's 0 potassium outside the cell or 0 sodium inside. It's all about the concentration. There's just way more sodium outside and way more potassium inside.
Your body works nonstop, 24/7, to maintain this very specific imbalance, because that difference is what powers almost everything your cells do, from firing a neuron to making a muscle contract. It's why getting seriously dehydrated is so dangerous. It throws this entire, delicate chemical balance into chaos.
So, let's recap. We have 100 trillion cells, all living in this internal sea that has to be kept just right. Why does this all matter so much? Okay, let's connect all the dots. This is the constant cycle of life support happening inside you right now. Your blood is circulating this extracellular fluid to every nook and cranny of your body. As it zips past your cells, all the good stuff, nutrients, oxygen, moves from the blood to the cells. And at the exact same time, all the bad stuff, the waste, moves out of the cells and into the blood so it can be carried away and dealt with by your lungs and kidneys. So, here's the bottom line. The one thing you really need to take away from this. The entire job of your body, the whole point of physiology, is to keep the conditions in that internal sea, that extracellular fluid, perfectly stable and perfect for your cells. When that environment is stable, you're healthy. When it gets out of whack, you get sick. It is truly that fundamental.
Which brings us to our final, and maybe most important question. This constant active process of maintaining a stable internal world, this incredible, delicate balancing act that is keeping you alive second by second, what do we call it? Well, the answer is one single powerful word: homeostasis. It is the central secret of physiology, and it's the reason you're alive and listening to me right now. Thanks for joining us.